I got the Zippered Bugnet kit from Ripstop by the roll, and I wanted to make the zipper bugnet for a hammock I'm making for my niece. So I thought I'd just record how I put it together because I've been asked if I had a video on this kit, so I'm going to make that today. I have also printed off the instructions here for the Zippered Bugnet kit. It is 10 feet long along the ridge line, and then it's got a depth of 50 inches and some angled cuts here. So we'll just go through these instructions step by step and follow along and make a zippered bugnet in some pretty short order, I hope. In this kit we have a 7-yard piece of the bug netting, and then there's a little plastic bag, and in the bag we've got a length of zipper. We have some grosgrain, some shock cord, and some cord locks, and a few zipper pulls. And the zipper pulls look like they've got the pulls on both sides, which is really handy. Now, step 1 on the instructions says that we're to attach the sliders to our zipper coil. So I'll take the rubber band off the zipper tape and we'll just put the sliders on there. I just measured this zipper tape. It's 51 inches, so it's just long enough to make the entire project. There's not going to be a lot hanging off the ends. And this seems to be a pretty heavy-duty zipper tape. So there's this teeth of the zipper coil. Has a bulge on one side, and then the other side is fairly flat. And that bulge can be accommodated in this gap. So I can get that in focus here. See the gap here in the actual zipper coil. So I'm going to just put that right on the end here. If you get it oriented the right direction, you can just push these both through. I like to pinch the back of the tape, and then I can just slide it through, and then I got that lined up pretty good on the one side. Then we're going to pull it all the way through to the other side. The zipper tape. We'll want the two sets of the zipper pulls to sort of meet evenly from one side to the other. So then on the other side here, I've got the zipper pull pulled up pretty tight to that side so that I know exactly how these have to be lined up. And then I'm going to find the proper orientation of my zipper pull so that I can get the teeth right in there. And I'm going to get it on there. Then the two line up right in the middle. We have these two sets of zipper pulls right there. Now, step 2 says after adding the sliders, sew 6 inches of the 3/4 inch grosgrain to each end of the zipper. In the kit we've got a piece of grosgrain. It's 14 inches long. We only need 6-inch pieces, so I'm just going to cut 2 pieces that are 6 inches long. I've cut the grosgrain, and now to prevent it from fraying, I've got a little jar of matches here. I'm just going to sear the edge of the grosgrain on both sides. And the photo here shows that this is lined up at the edge here, overlapping. And there's a series of stitches here in the shape of an X right at the base. So that's what we'll do. I'm just going to pin this in place so that it doesn't move around on me. This will act as a zipper stop so that when you're opening the zipper and closing it, you don't mistakenly, while you're camping, get your zipper pulled all the way off the zipper. So I'm just going to sew some stitches in the shape of an X here. I'm going to hang on to my threads with my hand just to prevent them from bunching up in there. I'm just going to take it nice and easy over that zipper. It's not as difficult when sewing over a plastic zipper like this. And certainly with a metal zipper, that's a high hazard situation, but just take it easy when sewing over a zipper, because if you were to go over a zipper really quickly, you could break your needle. And if you break a needle, you don't know where it's going to fly, and you wouldn't want it to fly in your eye. So I'm just sewing a little X stitch, and you could certainly mark this out with a pencil. But I'm getting pretty good at sewing these X's, so I'm just going to eyeball it here. And then lock my stitch. So this is how it looks. We've just got a series of X's holding this grosgrain loop onto the end of the zipper as a zipper stop. And the next step is that I'm going to cut two panel pieces that are 126 inches long and 50 inches wide. And then one of those pieces I'm going to cut in half so that it's 63 inches wide. So we'll do those cuts and then we'll attach the zipper to the bug net. It looks like this bug netting is a little bit wider than what we need. If I put a measuring tape here on the bug net just off the bolt, it's 55 inches. So after I cut these, I'm going to want to trim it down a little bit. I have my 3 pieces of fabric now cut. I have my 2 pieces which are each the halves of one side and then the full length of the other side. So now we're going to sew the zipper to each half of these panels. And to do that, got the width here of the bug netting. Make sure we're using the right side. And I'm going to line up the edge of my bug netting here with the side of my zipper. And I'm not going to pin it all the way down because that would be kind of a pain. Instead, I'm just going to do a couple of pins here to get it started. But I want the edge of the bug netting just sort of lined up here with the side of the zipper. And because this zipper has zipper pulls on both sides, it doesn't matter if you've got it one way or the other. Right now I have it so that this is the side that's going to be on the outside, so I put that down and just line it up here with the cut edge. And I'm just going to verify that I am lining this up along the proper edge. So these two things should be about the same length. Yeah, alright, we're good to go. I'm going to use my zipper foot here to sew this bug netting to the zipper. And because I've got my zipper on the left side of my needle, I'm going to line it up so that my zipper foot can allow my needle to be to the left side of the foot. Every zipper foot is going to be different. I mean, different manufacturers make them look different. So this is the zipper foot that came with my machine. So that's how it looks. So I'm just going to take my zipper foot and I'm going to set it down inside this grosgrain here. I can feel where the zipper is. It's a little bit off, maybe off frame here for you to see, but my zipper teeth, I can feel that through the grosgrain. And so I just want to line my zipper foot so that it is against those teeth. And then I'm going to just hold on to the top thread while I get my thread started here at the machine so that I don't get bunching on the back side, which can sometimes happen with my machine. Just get it started. Okay, I'm locking those stitches just with a few back and forth stitches in each direction. And now I'm just going to sew straight down so that my zipper foot is lined up at the edge of my zipper teeth, and so that the edge of this bug netting is lined up with the edge of the zipper tape. just going to sew a few inches at a time, and then I'm going to stop and just reorient things. And I'm coming up on where my 2 zipper pulls are, and I don't want to sew right past them, because if I sew right past them, I'm going to get a situation where my foot's going to sort of have to swing out of the way to get past them. So to pass these zipper pulls, what you want to do is stop with your machine so that the needle is in the down position, and then lift your foot. And that needle being down is going to keep that from losing its place. And then we're just going to pull the zipper pulls past where we're sewing. Now they're back here and out of the way, and we can just keep going. If you have your zipper pulls in the way, then just push them behind you. Then we want to lower our foot again before we start sewing, and then we'll just cruise on down to the very end. Just try and go as straight as you can and line that foot up with the edge of that zipper teeth that you've got. And we're coming down to the end here. So we'll just lock our stitches. Now we've got our zipper so that it's sewn in to the one side of the bug net here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold the bug netting back, and we're going to do another row of stitches, and that way the bug netting isn't going to get caught in our zipper tape, and also it'll be nice and secure and strong on there. So what I'm going to do is move my foot so that it's on the other side of my needle, and then I'm going to just set it here now so that my zipper foot is at the edge of the zipper teeth. But now my needle, if I were to drop it down right here, it's not going to actually catch the bug netting. So I can move my needle to the left, and that's what I'm going to do. Move my needle all the way to the left. That way as I sew down, I'm actually catching the bug net with the needle. Now I'm coming up on where my zipper pulls are. So just like we did on the way down, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to put my needle down, lift the foot up, and then just sort of slide these guys. It's a little bit more challenging to get them sort of back because of where this sort of screw is on my machine. So I'm just going to swing everything to the side here so I can get them out of the way. Alright, they're out of the way. We're free and clear. So I've got my foot back in the down position. And we're just cruising. As we get down to the end here, we just lock our stitches. And now we have one side of the zipper completely sewn to the bug netting. Our next step is we need to actually cut the bug netting so that we get these sort of tapered ends to each side. So we're going to measure down 4 inches from the top, and then we're going to measure in 3 feet on each side, and we're going to cut those. I'm going to do that to both pieces, so for the front and the back piece. So to do that, I'm going to cut both pieces at once, which means I'm going to pin these together. And since I'm going to have to sew these together anyway, I'm going to pin them together the way that I'm going to sew them. This is the bug net folded in half, and I've lined it up so that I've got my ruler at the top, 4 inches down from the top, and then I've got a long ruler here at the bottom, 36 inches in from the edge. And then I'm just going to take this straight edge. I'm going to have my scissors follow that straight edge right along the way there. Alright, this is it. I've cut it. So now we've got our cut made. Next we'll sew everything together. Now that our pieces are cut, we're going to sew our panels together along the ridge line. And then at these points here, we're going to sew channels for our shock cord. So that is just a double rolled hem. And then we're going to turn the net inside out and sew the rest of the seams done. So it should be pretty basic from this point in. All the hard part is over, which is the cutting of this Bugnet material. Now before I cut this, I pinned my ridge line together. So now that's all pinned and we're ready to go at the sewing machine. I'm going to put a normal foot back on the machine. I don't need this zipper foot anymore. This is my A foot. Just use a basic foot. I'm just going to check the quantity of thread I have in my bobbin. Yeah, I'm okay. You don't want to run out while you're sewing these big long seams. I mean, it's okay. You can always go back to where you started, but it's just a lot easier if you have enough bobbin thread. I'm going to use my magnetic seam guide just to help me keep my seams straight. I'm going to just clamp it down here. I'm not going to worry about my seam allowance. I don't think that the seam allowance on this top ridge line really matters, so I'm just going to sew with the width of my foot. I'm just going to use this to give me a little bit of extra help. And I'm going to make sure my needle's in the center position. I'm going to lock my stitch here to get started, and then I'm just going to use my hands to line everything up and use my eyeballs to make sure that I'm sewing as straight as I can right along the way. I don't think that sewing the Bugnet material is especially challenging. I mean, it's certainly not as difficult as sewing the sill poly or one of the other slippery fabrics. But what you don't want to do is stretch it, because this will stretch and you don't want to stretch it out of whack while you're sewing. Now, one of the most problematic things about sewing where you could get into trouble, I think, in my opinion, is if you sew too fast. Sewing too fast for your skill level, or sewing too fast for your type of fabric that you're using, and you just have it racing away. So just keep that in mind. While you're sewing, just keep in mind that you don't want to go too fast. Okay, we're coming up now on our zipper. I'm just going to go slow over that zipper because I don't want to bust a needle on those zipper teeth. And if your needle happens to hit those zipper teeth in the wrong way, it could cause them to snap. Even a plastic zipper could break a needle, I would imagine. Although that's much less likely with these plastic zippers. Those metal zippers, like the zippers you put in denim jeans and things, those, wow. Yeah, they're really, really easy to break a needle on one of those zippers. So my two pieces here are right sides together. I have this inside out when I cut my fabric, I pinned it so that it would be inside out. You don't want these sort of raw edges on the outside, although it doesn't really matter. I mean, if you sew something and your raw edges are on the outside and you're camping with it and you're successful with that, then who cares? Rock your raw edges to the outside. But I'm gonna I mean, this is a gift for my niece. I want it to look really tidy. So we're coming on up to the end of the ridge line here. So I'm just gonna lock my stitches a bit. And then what we've got to do is make the channel in this end bit for our double rolled hem for our shot cord. So I'm just going to fold this over and fold it over again. And this edge here is not going to fray. Can you see this here? I mean, this bug netting doesn't really fray. And I don't think it's really necessary to fold over for that edge. But if you wanted to, you could fold that edge over also. But I think that the way that we're going to sew it together, that part will end up being just fine. So I'm going to make this sort of a, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch double rolled hem. I don't want it to be too fat, but it shouldn't be too thin either. Cruising along then with our end channel. And we're going to take care when we sew the rest of this hammock together that we're not going to sew that end channel closed. I needed a little help getting that needle over that seam. That's okay. Just a slight little locking stitch there. I'm going to find the other edge of the ridge line and we're going to do the same thing. We'll take it here and just do a fold and another fold. If you wanted to pin this to provide some assurance that it wasn't going to move on you, then, you know, certainly pin it. I'm not going to bother pinning because I think I can hold it in here and get it sewn pretty quick and then not have to worry. But if you want to do some pinning, then certainly pin it. So these channels are just over 1/2 inch wide. That should give me space to get my shot cord through just fine. Now the right sides of this bug netting are still together. So I am going to now sew the remainder of the bug net closed. But I want to make sure when I'm lining this up that I'm not closing off the end of these channels that I made to get the shot cord into the bug net. I want to leave those open. So I'm just going to be careful, cognizant that they're there, and leave those open just a tad. I do want this lined up though. For some reason I think I don't have it lined up. Maybe I will use a few pins here now so that I don't get it all squirrely. This is just going to be one solid seam I'm sewing. I'm going to sew it all the way around the sides down to the bottom and then back up the other side. And if you wanted to pin the whole thing, you could certainly pin the whole thing. I'm not going to bother pinning the whole thing. I'm just going to sort of feed it together as I go. just don't tug on it. Let it go. Let your feed dogs pull it. You don't have to tug on it in order to get it to cooperate. I'm just holding both sides of the fabric with my hands here, and I'm letting the feed dogs feed the fabric through. I've got my zipper now that I've come up on, so I just want to gently go over that zipper. I don't want that to bust my needle. So I've made my way around the whole bottom perimeter of the Bugnet, and I'm now coming up on my seams where I made the channels for the shock cord, and I don't want to sew those closed. Those are right here. So let me just trim this cord thread back. I'm just going to stop before I close those off because we left those there. We wanted those to stay open. So we're just going to sew right up to that edge there. Like that. That way we don't, can you see that? That way we don't actually close it off. We can still get in there. Now, I've sewn one seam around the entire perimeter of the, let me check my bobbin, the entire perimeter, I'm okay, of the Bugnet. But I'm going to do a second seam as an overcast stitch, sometimes called an overlock stitch. And the reason I'm going to do that is just to kind of tidy up the edge here, and to, I mean, bug netting doesn't really fray, and I wouldn't say that this is an essential step or necessary by any means, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to move my foot into a zigzag stitch. I'm going to loosen the tension on my top thread a bit so that I'm not bunching things up too terrible in between these zigzags. I got a nice wide zigzag here. I would call, that's a 3. And I'm just going to go so that the right side of the needle is falling off the edge of the Bugnet and the left side of the needle is hitting inside the seam allowance. So we're not actually passing the seam. I think this will just tidy up that edge and make it nice and strong here with a second pass. No bugs were getting through this seam. I don't want any mosquitoes biting my niece. I'm just going to go around and I am going to stop the seam where I have the end channel for my shock cord, and then I'll pick it up on the other side and go all the way around there. But this is, you know, kind of how this end finish looks. It's kind of a nice tidy edge finish on that. So these are the two end channels that I have sewn in, so I'm going to use the shock cord into the end channels, and I'll just feed that through. I don't need the whole piece that came in this kit, so I'm just going to cut the piece that I need. Because we left that opening, we have a place to actually get the end of the shock cord out, like that. So if this is at its fully open position, I just need my shock cord a hair longer. And line locks came in this kit, so I'll just use one of the line locks here. Sorry about the lighting, it's gotten dark here and I've got a lamp blazing down on this like I'm going to do surgery or something. Okay. So I've got the line lock on the one side. Now I'll put shock cord and the line lock in the other side. I mean, all the equipment you need for this came in this kit. It was really handy. I didn't have to worry about anything. The instructions were there. The whole thing was there. And I've got another, I don't know, 15, 18 inches of shock cord that I didn't use. Now I can just turn this right side out. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be asked about the weight on this. So I got my kitchen scale here, and it weighs 171 grams. That's just over 6 ounces. So this is how it hangs. It looks really nice hanging with my niece's new hammock, and I slept in it, and I think it's really easy to get in and out of. I had no problems opening and closing the zipper and pulling my legs through. I thought it's actually really a nice design, and I think I might make one for myself. At any rate, I hope you enjoyed this. If you're interested in making one of these kits, and have a great time sewing. Thanks for watching.